or something like that.
Oh man!
And like people were just looking at you, and they just like kind of walking on eggshells. That's almost what it feels like. It's almost like they're just like, I hope he doesn't loot my stuff. Like that's how I feel right now.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
okay. So not for the better.
Huh?
So not for the better.
Oh, that shit does not bother me. You know me, I'd rather people not talk to me in the first place.
But
yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, you could definitely feel it. So people feel nicer, but you could tell it's like almost like a forced nice. Like, hey, let me say hi to him so he doesn't explode, or it's weird, man. It's definitely weird.
Wow.
Yeah. And they had like a little. It's funny because this town is what I think it's 40,000 people that live in this town, so it's super small. And they had like a little demonstration going through town too. I was laughing. I was like, what? Like 11 people showed up. It's hilarious, but yeah.
Being how you grew up. I mean, I remember us having discussions on how you grew up and the area you grew up in, to the point where you thought black people were the majority.
Yeah, I did.
Like
up until like 8th grade.
Yeah. So growing from there till, now you have a family, you live in New Mexico. Do you ever feel like you have to talk? Cause I know some of my friends actually have to have that talk that people who are not of color have to don't have to experience, but have that talk with your kids. Like, listen, you might experience kind of just the racism talk, or not even an inherent racism, but just somebody's gonna act a way towards you because the color of your skin.
Yeah. I have a 9-year-old. That's my oldest kid. So I haven't had that conversation with her yet. At this age, I've already had this conversation with my mom though, and I think what it is, like, it doesn't seem necessary to have the conversation yet for me, but I know it's coming up soon though. Whereas like when I was younger, especially just being like a bigger black dude, my mom, like, I mean, I could have been maybe 7, and she was just like, yeah, I don't want to see you out there running around with like a BB gun, or even it could be a Nerf gun. That's about it. If you're playing outside with your friends, because you will get mistaken, and they're just gonna start dumping or take you to jail, whatever. And I've seen other cases like that, and obviously the one that blew up the biggest was the Tamir Rice case, because they got it on camera. Yep. But that shit happens, especially with a teenager in a BB gun or something like that. Oh man, like they're not asking any questions. They just start dumping. Hell, remember that one guy? He got shot in a Walmart. He picked up a pellet gun that was on the shelf in a Walmart, and somebody called the cops on him.
Dude,
so I've always been hyper aware of stuff like that, and that's why in that post, because the dude that I shared that post from is my cousin.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that post, when he was talking about trying to look as non-threatening as possible and try to behave as non-threatening as possible, that was just kind of instilled in us in the early age, because we know that we're going to be perceived a different way. You know what I'm saying? Now, my oldest is a girl, so I'm not worried about people looking at her as a threat, but I know I'll have to have the conversation as she gets older, because, I feel like people are meaner to girls sometimes. Like when it comes to judging somebody on their appearance and looks and stuff like that. So I know that's going to have to happen. But like I said, I got a boy too. He's only 2. But I may have to have that talk with him at the same age. I had to talk, so it's definitely coming.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I just sent it out there blind and they figured that shit out like in college or something like that.
Oh, yeah. That'd be terrible. I mean, definitely setting them up for failure, and possibly one of the terrible cases that we see on the internet because they don't understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's, because of that, what are some possible solutions, or what do you see coming with all this change?
Dude,
like you got.
Well, go ahead.
You shared that post with the Democrats kneeling.
Yeah.
And the kente scarves, and it said, but Black Panther.
Yeah. Dude, that was, me, I don't get offended at all, bro. That was probably the most offensive thing I've seen in a while. Was seeing those dudes put on the kente cloth,
dude,
and kneel. And I was like, what are y'all doing?
It was
cringy.
Like,
what the hell is this kente cloth shit? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was cringy, tasteless, and for what? Like, what? I dude, talk about virtue signaling.
Dude, so bad, like, and so hard. And that's why, like, me, like I said, I already have like a general distrust for politicians in general, and then you see somebody do something like that, and it's like,
Black Panther, bro. I can't with these people.
It's so
what bothers me the most is, and I don't want to get too political, but it's Nancy Pelosi, who arguably has the most power as a female in politics.
Okay.
Has not addressed anything. I seen a tweet and it said street names are changing. You got people buying kente gear, kneeling, people washing people's feet, people apologizing with white people apologizing with
people's feet.
Have you not seen that?
No. Who's washing
There
feet?
was a few white cops and a few white people washing this black guy's feet at a park, saying sorry.
Holy shit.
Yes. This is how extreme our society is.
Holy shit.
How incredibly ridiculous our society is. But the gist of her tweet was, explaining all these things that people are doing, which at the end of the day is just pandering because nothing has actually gotten done. Nothing has been passed.
Yeah.
We got lawmakers who they're acknowledging how terrible the system is and how everything is needs to change, and they're the ones who can change it, and they're doing nothing.
What do you think they should do? Because I don't always think that passing more laws is actually a good thing, and I actually think that sometimes passing laws is also virtue signaling.
Yeah, no, I don't think that it's something that they. I think, granted, I'm not a lawmaker, so I don't know exactly what they should do.
Okay.
But I think they should be, because they have the power to do something. Something should be done.
I think all you have to do is just accountability, bro.
Well, one of the things I think is that they've done is they've passed that law where I forget where exactly. I don't know if it's countrywide, but I know it's statewide, and in a couple states they've passed it. Where, like you said, when that one cop got fired and the other police chief is like, "Hey, if you lose your job, we're always hiring down here."
Yeah.
They passed a law that if you get fired from a police organization or a district or whatever, you cannot be rehired as a police officer.
Oh, like nowhere?
Like nowhere.
Oh.
So that's a huge. That's one of those things I'm talking about.
That's decent. That's decent.
What's the other one? I'm not exactly sure. I don't have off the top of my head some of the things that they've passed, but it's stuff like that I think.
Okay.
You have you're in a seat of power where you can do certain things. You think you'd be surrounded by enough people to say, listen, this is a problem. This has been a constant pattern and a constant problem. Here's a solution, or here's a bunch of solutions that either can get voted on or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a simple solution or anything, but
no, it's like that law makes sense to me. Not like if you get fired for any reason, but definitely. No, I guess any reason. I guess because I'm thinking like if it's corruption, you don't want this dude coming back. If it's you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, if it's corruption, you don't want that guy coming back. If it's anything with police brutality, that goes exactly to my point earlier about like why do you have 9 of these on your record, and then you kill somebody, and then all of a sudden you find out. There should be like I say we should probably have, I guess, zero tolerance, because it's police brutality is kind of complicated. I'm tops 2 times, man. I could see maybe you push somebody too hard, maybe knock somebody over or tackle somebody. I don't know. I can see something happening in a 20-year police career where you're going to have a stain. But 2 times in a year, 2 times in 2 years, you getting like legit police brutality on you. You're like, you shouldn't be a cop anymore. You're not learning.
Yeah.
First one could be a slap on the wrist, possibly a suspension. That second one, bro, you got to go. You didn't learn from the first one. That's how I feel about that. So I'm not like sitting up trying to hold these guys to an impossible standard to where it's like, oh, if you mess up, you lose your job. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Yeah, it's there's definitely things like that law, that one that I just explained, I think is one of the greatest things. Like, what blows my mind is, why did we have to wait this long for that to be a thing?
That's true. That is true.
Especially when we know that certain cops lose their jobs in certain districts and just move on over to another district. And what's crazy is the ones that do that are the ones that are getting caught on camera brutalizing people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that's just one of those things that slips my mind, or that blows my mind, rather, that you got people who show a pattern and, like you said, you don't do it until the 9th time and they kill someone.
Yeah.
Like that's the max. Hey, you know that 3-strike rule? Multiply that by 3.
We gotta multiply. Yeah, man, you got to need a whole culture change, man. It's wild. It's wild.
One of the things I did want to talk about when you were talking about the rioters and the looters, have you listened to the latest JRE with Andrew Schultz?
I'm probably midway through it.
He made a really good point when they were talking about the looters and rioters and stuff like that, where he says, you know, people want a peaceful protest, but it doesn't get the attention that it does when, you know, nobody wants to acknowledge it until something bad happens. So when you have expensive stores getting broken and looted on 5th Ave, all of a sudden it's hurting people's pockets. Now it needs to be addressed.
Yes.
So when he said that, it kind of clicked in my head, where for me I was more along the lines of like, hey, some things don't get better until they get worse.
Yeah.
So with the looting and the rioting, that's going to come with a protest, because that's what's grabbing everyone's attention.
Yeah.
What Andrew Schultz said about, you know, once it starts hurting people's pockets, then it'll be acknowledged, just solidified everything I thought and put it in a better perspective, where it's like, oh, damn, they really are. We got companies that are cutting ties with other companies that aren't responding to this the way everybody thinks they should.
Yep.
And it could be a slippery slope, but so far, in my opinion, or from what I'm seeing, it's been great. You know, when people are like, hey, yeah.
This whole year has been a bunch of stuff I've just never seen before. Because most of them have a really good sense.
Year ever.
I have a really good sense of like knowing where things are going to go. Like when I see something pop off, so like, oh, this happened. Everybody's outraged right now. There's going to be no change from this, or we're going to do this for a little bit, but we'll be back to normal, in a week or two. That this whole COVID thing didn't work out the way I was thinking it was going to work out. This whole Black Lives Matter wave this time is not working out the way I thought it was going to work out. 'Cause I legit thought that it's going to be like, oh, cool, another black dude, whatever. We'll talk about this for a month, and this would be it. There would be no change. Nah.
That's how it was in the past.
That's how it was in the past. I guess I feel like I'm an optimist personally, but societal, I'm not that much of an optimist. So I just expect it to be like no change. But I'm completely shocked. So I don't know where anything's going. I feel like every prediction I've made this year has just been wrong.
Yeah. What I do love that I'm seeing on social media right now is how many people are coming to the defense of police, and kind of, because I don't want to put them all in a category and make a huge generalization, but for the most part, they're coming to the defense of the police and saying, like, I've seen shit like, if you don't do a crime, you won't get arrested.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Or you won't have an altercation with cops. And people are responding with like, yeah, what about forgive me, I forgot her name. Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
Who was sleeping in her bed. Like, and that's the end of the conversation. You can't defend stuff like that. So what I'm loving is things like that. And then on top of that, certain parts of our history, like American history, that people didn't know about or has been covered up, being brought to light. Like, yeah, this isn't new. What's happening right now is not like you said in the beginning of the podcast. Oh, all of a sudden a black guy dies and everybody loses their mind. Like, no. This is a pattern. This has been a pattern for hundreds of years.
Yeah. We
just finally are, and when I say we, I don't mean people of color. I mean millennials, Gen Z, like all the, like you're seeing more and more, even white people coming to the aid in the streets of protesting and all that. And it's coming,
a lot.
Yeah. So it's just, it's amazing on how everything's happening. And I really wanted to get your opinion on pretty much everything. 'Cause I know we've had talks, like long discussions, some nonsensical, some legitimate like conversations, but you've always been somebody who's had some pretty good knowledge of most things.